Good morning. We've got new designs coming up soon. There's a couple of projects that have been on hold because of access to parts, and I haven't made the footprints yet. I don't like having lots of different part numbers. I don't like it. It is confusing to people. So the more I can support on a single board, the better. I don't know what that is. So the plan was to make a hot swap version and a grid version and a non-grid version, and then to offer paddles on all of those models. But my plan is now to combine all of them. So I have the, if you saw the recent not so live stream, the switch footprint, the combination switch footprint, which supports cherry, low profile kailh, and hot swaps, ideally. This hasn't been tested yet, but especially the hot swaps. Hot swaps might need a plate, but I mean, we can 3D print a plate if we need to, because we only have one position. So as long as the switches are only going to be in one position, hey, we get plates. I also wanted to experiment with a PCB plate. You can get everything in one all together, because people love those hot swaps and no one wants to learn how to solder. Goodness, excuse me. So I did a few tricks to get it to work, to fit both the kailh and the Cherry MX, and hopefully those work out. I've been very, very happy with my Cherry footprint, because the Cherry footprint has had a consistently tight fit with the switches, and that makes it very easy to troubleshoot alignment issues, and very easy to work with, popping the switches into place before you solder them. It just makes everything a lot easier, especially for a PCB where you get to choose which switch position you want, where you can adjust it and then try it and then adjust it again. That is I forgot about that. What are those called? Those contact, the SIP socket things. Forgot about those. So I've been very happy with the Cherry MX footprint that I have right now. There's been some time and effort in adjusting that, and I am loath to change it. But here we are, testing it out. So we'll see what it does and what it doesn't do. That might even make sense to think about this. Yeah, it might even make sense to, I hadn't thought about this, but reduce the size slightly. I don't know how. There's so many variables to this, because if you tweak sizes on one thing, then there's drill diameters and routing areas that PCB manufacturers like and don't like, and work well and don't work well, and are very consistent and somewhat inconsistent. So to have something that would fit all those scenarios, when it works well, it works perfectly, and then if you change anything up, you never know. You never know if it's going to be all wrong. So my low investment test was to make a mic prototype kind of thing. Crow had a nut and was waiting on a light post to drop it in front of cars so that they could drive over it. When will they just learn to use nutcrackers? Dumb birds. I got some bird ideas. Coffee will help my throat. So, right, I made a mic prototype with some different versions of switches, the switch footprints. So I expect they should work, but you know, sometimes things don't go the way that you expect. The potential for tightening up that middle post, because the cherry switch fits on, you know, the PCB mount fits on the center post and then the three PCB mount slots, and that center post is the same diameter on, at least according to the spec, same diameter on the Cherry MX and the Kailh. So tightening that up by a fraction of a millimeter, maybe, might make it useless, but at least you can drill it out if you need to. You know, if it does make it useless. There's got to be some other kind of like friction set in there. I don't know. The whole thing it still needs to sit flat, so it's not like I can just shim it or something. I don't know. Talking about this stuff helps. If you didn't notice on the not so live stream footprint work, just came up with the idea on the fly while I was explaining it, and realized it was worth trying. So here's the footprints, 3 different versions on their way, and we'll see how they all fit. It will also be nice to have a very flat, very portable mic. The mic I have is nice and has a good connector, and, you know, tall switches, clicky switches, and that's great. But it would be a lot cooler if I could also make a super flat one. Or, you know, the PCB can support super flat builds or complete, you know, cherry switches. The idea is there, so again, just trying to cram as many options as I can into one PCB without sacrificing too much of our alignment and fit and everything. The other thing is the next version is going to have a proper case. It needs one. So yeah. So what I'm probably going to make is the next version of Signum is going to have one of those footprints, if it works. So it'll support the cherry, the kailh. You know, it doesn't even matter that much. I still want to test it. Still want to test it. I'm designing. These next versions are going to have single positions for the switches. So they won't necessarily be very resizable. In that they won't be resizable at all. But it needs to have, since it only has one position, it can have a plate. We can 3D print plates for it. We can get PCB plates, or, you know, shiny steel plates from that Laser Gist or something, or wherever, or acrylic plates. Those are nice. Still like working with acrylic. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. It's been a while since I've enjoyed the laser cutter. Average Ponoko fan, average laser cutter enjoyer. Sorry, my mind is memes. So we'll have alignment. You know, we'll have a case, a proper case, something that looks halfway decent. You know, I love the unfinished look, but that doesn't necessarily mean everyone else does. Yes, I did. I have. I had ideations. I still have ideations for a a web tool for breaking very early. A web tool for putting in your Signum key switch positions and generating SVG of your your plate, what your plate would be. So as it stands, the Signum can be have switches in many positions and many combinations, and people have surprised me frequently with very interesting layouts. And they're because you can fit them pretty much wherever, you don't really necessarily get a plate. But it wouldn't be too hard to write a plate generator that creates an SVG scaled properly with all the switch positions when you just, tick the box. Position 1, the switch is at position number 1, and then position 2, the next one over, it's at position 3, and then generate an SVG off of that. And then you can make your own plate, or submit your own plate to some other company for generating one. It's just those looks and all that. A brass plate would look nice. I'm just saying. It's certainly not necessary, but I'm not going to say it wouldn't look nice, because it would look nice. Here I go. Right. So the other thing is, I'm probably only going to make these single position PCBs in Signum 3.1, so it'll have the number row as well, because that seems to be what people choose more. I've sold a lot of Signum 40%, the 3.0, but sold more 3.1s. And more people are interested in the 3.1, so there it is. So I'll be making more 3.1s with those positions for low profile, hot swap, ideally, and regular cherry. And the potential for plates. PCB plates, acrylic plates, whatever kind of plates. I still have plans for a split, like a proper split, but I'll probably, what I usually do is finish all the PCBs and then save on shipping, getting them all together. So we'll see. I think I have the schematic all built out for the split. So we'll see. Stuff coming up.